Hey, what's going on, everyone? Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome back to Dano Crypto. Welcome, Dojo Crew. On this channel, we show you guys how to make simple, effective, and easy moves in the cryptocurrency ecosystems. Welcome, guys, gals, aliens, and degenerate crypto enthusiasts. We have a pretty pivotal week this week in crypto and in the financial markets for economics, for the micro, the macro, and it is the decision for the Fed, which is coming up, the FOMC meeting on the 31st this month, if Jerome Powell is going to be pressured hard enough to cut the rates on this particular meeting. There are 2 or 3 more meetings after this for the rest of the year. And the Fed had planned to cut rates more so towards the end of the year. And it was only going to be maybe 50 basis points, 25 basis points, maybe only just like close to getting to a 1% cut. But the Trump administration obviously has been pressuring the Fed to cut rates to get them down. They think that the rates need to be down to like 2%. Currently, they're at 4.25% federal funding rate. So this is what's happening this week. So it's potential that we could actually get a cut on the 31st, but we'll just have to see because of the spectacle that we saw of the Trump administration going to the Fed to check on their construction budget, which was over budget. And then President Trump and Jerome Powell had a back and forth. So this is something that we are just keeping track of. That's just one of the things. But then also, there is a lot of speculation into this next run that we're going to see with Bitcoin. We're seeing some consolidation. We're seeing that, Ethereum actually has been taking a lot of market dominance and market share. It's got very close to that 4K level. And guys, remember, I think last time we hit around these levels, we'll show you on a different ETH chart, that we hit some resistance. We hit that 4K resistance. It's like this like dragon scale, like, Skyrim level, ancient druid resistance of $4,000 that we hit with Ethereum. So hopefully, I think with, the nature of the ETF inflow still pushing strong, that we will just continue the momentum with Ethereum, but it's not going to come without that resistance. Bitcoin hit similar resistance, but even with the resistance, we had so much buy pressure. And speaking of buy pressure on Bitcoin, a big topic of discussion that happened during the weekend was that we had a 80,000 Bitcoin be absorbed by the market. So an old whale actually, and Galaxy Digital was the one who facilitated the transaction. $80,000 was basically just absorbed by buy pressure in the market. And so with that, we saw Bitcoin didn't even really react to that big of a sell. And it looks like we're just having more buy pressure than sell pressure during this point of the market. And you could say that during this point of the market in a bull run, the most euphoric, wildest runs and percentage gains happen towards the last 2 to 3 months of the run. And currently right now, we're in a cycle. We're in a cycle right now where we've said it before, we said it last week, that we basically have like 80 days left to that finishes the quote 4-year cycle. Because if we do the 4-year cycle, and a lot of people think that the 4-year cycle is broken, that we actually are in a completely different market structure and the 4-year cycle is broken. We've heard people say this on panels. A lot of the big guys, can't remember the names off the top of our heads, but a lot of the clips I've seen is they're like, hey, I don't know if this 4-year cycle is even is even validated anymore because of the nature of the institutional adoption and the liquidity and the amount of liquidity that's coming in with the modality of the stable coins. Look, we got the Genius Act. We have all of this bullish stuff and institutional overload for stable coins, and institutional overload turns to Ether. And this is how we end up getting money flowing into altcoins. And with Ethereum being the top dog, in terms of smart contracts, institutional adoption, market cap, developers, the nature of the support for blockchains wanting to use Ethereum and be a layer 2 and have Ethereum as the base settlement layer. And regardless if you were like, oh, well, no one's using Ethereum, but guess what? The institutions will probably end up using Ethereum. It's not that we need retail to use Ethereum. Retail, we don't have as much money. So yeah, we need things to be cheaper. We need to be faster and all that stuff. But I've kind of made the case that, institutions technically don't really care about that necessarily. They just want the chain to actually work and not go down and be strong and resilient in terms of developer support, the longevity, the maturity, the trust. The trust is a big thing. So what is it that you guys can't pinpoint that this is how Bitcoin has gained trust and why it's being bought up like it is by big money? Now Ethereum is in the same boat of trust from the institutions. This will trickle down into other altcoins, but it will start with Ethereum first. And this is what we're seeing. And so for us, this is how we start to think about our meme coin bags, our alt bags, our low cap gems, whatever that may be. We want to make sure that these things are inside of the ecosystems that big money's coming in to load up in with liquidity. And so we know that being in crypto, that whenever we have seen ETH and euphoric times in the markets for some of these, mini altcoin seasons, we've seen the alts run up hundreds of percent on the daily. I wouldn't say on the daily, but sometimes on the daily, but then just coins in general going up 20%, 30%, 40%. So we just hope that we are holding these coins, and we're going to get into how if we just keep it simple, you don't have to have 7,000 different coins. You can have like 10 coins, narrow it down to those 10 coins, and you are not guaranteed to be, making massive gains. But in the type of market that we're in now, it's almost like everything ends up kind of going up or performing a little well with the euphoria. That can happen. That we've seen before. We're not even close to the type of euphoria that we've seen in 2021 and some of the previous cycles when it came to like the Shiba Inu run, the run on Wall Street, the Wall Street bets type of movement. I think this is going to start coming in, but it's going to come into in a different type of way. But we're going to get into some of the news here today. We're going to pull up some of the most bullish and bearish things that we are seeing in the timeline, also in the markets, in the cryptocurrency ecosystems today. But make sure you guys are hitting that like button. We really appreciate it. We appreciate the continued support. And just make sure if you're following this live stream, you've been tuning in on a regular basis. We stream Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All I ask is that you guys hit that like button. You are active in the chat. You're letting me know where you're watching from, who you are, where you are, and we can have some fun today. Now, also repost this because we want to make sure that everyone is getting a chance to watch these live streams, because we've been bringing you guys some of the best cryptocurrency content in the business for live streams and being very consistent. We try and be at least mildly entertaining, and we want to make sure you guys are just having some fun and also sharing this with your friends, your meemaw, your peepaw, your papaw, your grandma, your uncle, your your auntie, your brother, your sister, your brother from another mother. I don't care who it is, but you gotta get people in the mindset of thinking about investing and looking at cryptocurrencies, understanding cryptocurrencies, downloading these wallets, testing this stuff out, going on the websites, looking at these things, seeing where the money's flowing, even just going as far as, okay, let me pull up a heat, let me pull up a heat map here. Let me pull up a crypto heat map. What is all this stuff? What's in the green? What's in the red? Let's figure this stuff out together. All right, so the Dow today is down a little bit. Oh my gosh, 0.01%. Everyone run for the hills. The VIX is up a little bit, which means volatility is up a little bit in the markets. There are I think there's a lot of stuff that's happened through the weekend. Trump announced that there is a trade deal with the EU. There were talks that there wasn't a deal that was being made, or it was just not good for both parties. But I think, and this was the toughest one, I think, besides with China. I think China, the media was making it seem like it was such a tough thing, but I think the relationship in terms of the trade deal with China was actually probably a lot easier than it is with the EU. To be honest, I think the EU, it was probably playing playing a lot of games, and they weren't able to come to an agreement. But I think they come to an agreement. And oh, awesome! We got Satoshi follower with the first super chat of the day. Let's go. Satoshi is an AI from 3022. That's wild. Yes, actually, if you guys have been following some of the things that these big wigs like CZ, former CEO and creator of Binance, he mentioned and speculated that Satoshi is an AI from the future. Pretty crazy. But thank you so much for that super chat. Really appreciate it. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button. We got 8 people in here on YouTube so far. We're just getting started. And we're going to be pulling up some of the charts. We're really going to analyze the Bitcoin chart today and also the Ethereum chart. And we're going to look at some of the altcoins that are in the green today while we are having a little bit of this pullback consolidation with Ethereum and Bitcoin. This is the things that I like to do the most in pullbacks, is to see which coins are in the green on the pullbacks, because then you can see where the money rotation is happening. You can kind of see where money's flowing. And remember, the only new money that's coming in is institutional stablecoin minting and treasuries. That's it. That's new money. That's the new money coming in. It's not retail. It's not retail en masse coming in to start downloading the Coinbase app again or whatever it is. That's not it. So the money that's coming in is from institutions and stablecoin minting and treasuries and things like that. And then the money that's in here now moving around, it's the same money that's been here, just rotating into different things. And so you can either choose to be that person that's going to be rotating constantly into the next thing. That's the rotation, okay? Because we saw it where it was like Solana season, and then all of a sudden it was like everyone was getting out of Solana to go into Sui, and then it was Tron. Actually we had Tron season, then we had a Solana season, then it was Tron season. And then it was Ton season. And then each season basically ended, and money just rotated into the next thing. And so that's what we've actually seen, especially, if you're just following the on-chain movements. You can kind of see that, it started with Solana, then it went to Ton, and then it went to Tron, and then and guess what the catalyst was? The catalyst was that you could create your memes and create some type of thing or a launch pad. So it was all these launch pads and different ways that people were trying to get, these chains were trying to get attention with addresses and active DeFi trading through whatever modality it is. So for Solana, the biggest one ended up being pump.fun. And now that kind of came to a head, and we've seen how the pump token and how the whole distribution model and how they're running this app, it's very controversial. And so a lot of the people that had faith and were bullish pump, and also that portion of the Solana ecosystem, because you don't want to connect the whole Solana ecosystem to just pump fund. That's stupid. Like, people keep doing this and they're like, oh, I'm done with Solana because of pump fund. It's like, that's not all what Solana is. It's not just pump fund. Like, they've been building stuff like the phone ecosystem and NASDAQ on chain, basically, like, you know, perps trading and being able to have something like Jupiter, for instance, which is like, you know, actually had a really successful airdrop and tokenomics distribution with their token, with the Jupe token, you know, it being, you know, some of the obviously the biggest and highest liquidity for a Solana ecosystem token. And if you remember, this is kind of where we've seen a lot of the, and also the people that use Jupiter over time using Solana on chain got rewarded really well. Like, the airdrop was actually, I think, one of the most successful looking airdrops that we have seen, being Jupiter. And so I want to give a shout out to Jupiter. But yeah, so that's just kind of like how the markets have been pivoting, rotating. It's kind of the same money, you know, going into these things. And now I think one of the biggest rotations that we might actually see is in Pulse Chain. We've talked about this for months and months. And it's not to pat ourselves on the back or anything. It's just like me and Headband, Headband is a regular watcher of the channel, very knowledgeable with NFTs and just trends and finding stuff where people are all looking right, and we're gonna look left for a little bit. And so I think Pulse Chain is the left look, while everyone's all looking over here. You know, there's Richard Hart has this master plan of marketing, and we're gonna get into it. You know, we're gonna read this post and we're gonna get into why, you know, it probably might be smart to at least just pay attention to these things that are on the outskirts, that are building up momentum, while everyone's paying attention to Bitcoin, Ethereum, or SUI, or what, you know, whatever it is. Because remember, it's an attention, and it's an attention economy game, and sometimes half the attention that is you are giving is most likely an extraction, and then the other half you have to figure out how to niche and nuance it into the things that actually will give you a higher chance and probability of gains. Because that's what we're here for, right? I mean, at the end of the day, what are we here to do? We're here to make money, and we can talk about how the tech, and, you know, we're here for the tech and all that, but, you know, at the end of the day, we're all here to have freedom. And how do you get freedom and more time? You need to be able to have your money work for you. How do you have it work for you? Well, it needs to give you a return, and it needs to not be a piece of crap. It needs to have multi-cycle type of feel to it. It's got to be multi-cycle. So let's figure this out together, my friends. This is what we're here for. This is what it's all about. And I can't express to you enough that you got to hit the damn like button. I don't know what you guys are doing. I don't know if you're sleeping. Did your thumb stop working? I don't know what else to tell you guys. We got 107 people on X pumping the algorithm. I wonder how many people liked the live stream on there. They're beating you guys, doing a lot better than you on YouTube. I don't know what the hell you guys are doing on YouTube. Sleeping. You're sleeping. But no, I have to mess with you guys, because, like, I'm just like, come on. I know I'm more entertaining than that. I deserve 10 likes. I know I'm more entertaining than that. But we got Shipman in the house. We got Lasers. We got Music Miracles. Good morning, GMGM. Just loaded YouTube, and your thumbnail right up there just started too. Hope the end of the month days are pumping. Let's go. Oh my God, did YouTube finally just like put my live stream in front of people? Oh my gosh, Music Miracles. Thank you. You are a blessing. You are a miracle yourself. Let's see, Music Miracles. Let's see if this person has a channel. Like if it's not just like, you know, if it's like an actual channel. Oh, no. Okay. No content. You're just a watcher. Well, let's go. I was about to pump your channel if you had like a bunch of songs. I was about to say, go check out Music Miracles New album. All right, so let's get into so I was just talking about how, I think another rotation could be going into Pulse Chain. There's a lot of speculation into this massive campaign that Richard Hart is talking about and has been hinting. He was doing a lot of not cryptic, but also very just straightforward messaging on X saying like, hey, Ethereum and all you crypto companies suck at advertising. You're terrible at it. And he said the only reason why Hex in the beginning didn't dominate as hard as it could have, because it was based off of Ethereum's gas fee model, because it was an ERC20 token, Hex. And then eventually we go into Pulse Chain, which is the layer 1, equivalent to Ethereum. And then there we go. So we have to think about how the Hex token now and Pulse Chain, Pulse token, that is the gas token for Pulse Chain. It's Pulse, PLS. And then you have Pulse X, which is the main liquidity provider and swap for the ecosystem that has a token. And then you have incentive token, which is kind of the main reward incentive for the ecosystem inside of Pulse. So you have these main tokens. You have Pulse Chain, you have PLS, you have incentive token, you have Hex, and you have PLS, PLSX, incentive token, and the Hex token. And then you can go down the rabbit hole of the stable coins that were all bridged, and then get into PDAI, which is basically, if you know what DAI is the one of the main tokens that was bridged over as a stable coin. And then there was a PDAI that was minted, and there's this whole narrative of PDAI getting to pegging to $1. So there's this. So I mean, you can go down the rabbit hole. I'm not even going to get into it, but there is something interesting happening on Pulse Chain. I think Richard Hart has this master plan, and I'm about it. I'm here for it. I got a little cash in Pulse Chain. I got to get a little bit more in there. And hey, what not better time to be scooping up some stuff like this, where I've already had my attention on it, but now there's a massive campaign that is going to be built around this. So let's see what he's talking about. So crypto. What are you going to do when the mass marketing starts ripping faces off? People are going to hear about Pulse Chain, PulseX, and Hex, and Pump.Tires, which is the token launch platform that's just like is competing with Pump.Fund and Bonk.Fund and all the different launch pads and things that are happening right now. People are going to hear about Pulse Chain, PulseX, and Hex, and Pump.Tires directly before they hear about anything else. They're going to hold something in their hands that works great and is impressive, something they're not going to throw away. So this is interesting. And I think it's just going to be like I think it's probably just going to be like a thumb drive. I don't know why, but I was laughing. It was like, why is everyone thinking it's going to be this like crazy, but it's probably just going to be like it's just going to be like a thumb drive that is just like has everything loaded on it. I don't know. We'll see. But Hex did a 10,000x in price the first time while being murdered with the deca millions in fees to ETH. So that point that I was making, like, it hurt to be able to kind of have that type of ETH with the gas fees. It's different now. I think the gas is finally like chilled. Like we'll see when ETH actually starts to be used in terms of like NFT traction, like how it was. Whenever we had the NFT season, gas fees on ETH were like $100, $150. It was insane. And this was all because of NFTs. I blame NFTs 100%. All you NFT people, it was your fault. So let's see this. So now Pulse Chain exists, which we mentioned, and with PLS goes up, Hex goes up because of the pairing. Because things are paired in the pulse chain ecosystem with wrapped PLS, like Hex. Hex is wrapped in PLS, and so is most of the high liquidity tokens. They're based and liquiditied in PLS. So PLS, PulseX, and Hex pump tires, they all reinforce each other because of the nature of how they're doing the DeFi. Coin burning everywhere you look, so it has a deflationary mechanism where they're burning coins. And he says it's amazing. So he said, dry powder ready to explode, the weak hand shaken out violently, amazing designs and reliability with years of track record. The match is nearly struck. Be ready for greatness, and haters, you might as well get your memes ready because you're going to be very butthurt. I love this. Honestly, I think Richard Hart's one of the most interesting characters in crypto because of the nature of how he was so everyone was trying to tarnish his name, but he's had a pretty honestly pretty solid track record. And it is true, he was the only one to really legitimately beat the SEC with his own doing, and it actually did it in a way that wasn't like a boo-hoo story like XRP has. XRP's always like, boo-hoo, woe is me, woe is XRP, the naughty SEC sued us. Well, I don't know. Maybe they were suing you because you probably were doing something shady. But then at the same time, we have Richard Hart's entire coding language getting scrutinized by the SEC, and he won. What's the difference? No, boo-hoo, woe is me. It was just he basically, silently, in the background, learned as much as you could about law and order and the justice system, and when it comes to actually your rights, and stated all of this stuff, all the legal papers, all of the info, all the things that you could use as a person to better yourself in knowledge. Where did XRP come out and teach us about the legal system? They were like, no, just feel bad for us and buy our coin. So that's why there's a difference, and there is a hierarchy of how you handle your coin and your ecosystems compared to what these big bankers do, and they want to gaslight you and making you feel bad for them when they're way better off than you are. So just think about that so when you start supporting people and you're want to put people on a pedestal, start to actually use your brain a little bit. Use your brain a little bit. I don't know what a better explanation I can give you guys to navigate the trickery and the foolery around in cryptocurrency ecosystem. And then you make a choice, and you're like, okay. I knew, and then the headband's going to go XRP to the moon. No, I told you guys, XRP, I will give you my real bullish case scenario for XRP. I don't hold any XRP, but here's the deal. Look at what I told you guys at the resistance. I said, look, we're this massive trend line of resistance from forever ago. And I said, if they're going to sell, they're probably going to sell right there. And that was a nice selling point for them. I said, what could potentially happen here in this scenario is that, that's a bearish divergence. We can get price consolidating down just a little bit, back down. We even have, some of the XRP big, XRP whales are, going to sell at the all-time high. And we've even seen this with Pingu. Pingu recently, it hit that all-time high, but it hit some major resistance at that all-time high. So you have to always expect at these all-time highs to get a little bit of these pullbacks. And the next level that I'm looking at for XRP, because I think it was based off the fib, was a $4.84 XRP based on the fib from this high to the low. We pull the low right down from the last breakout point. And this is where I think why we got that fib level marked was for $4.76 around that area. And yeah, I think that's pretty conservative. And then I honestly think like the highest XRP can go into these next 5 years, which is going to determine if we're going to be in an extended cycle, like 4-year cycles broken. We might go into an extended 6-year cycle after this particular halving because it's just different, you know? So if that's the case and we get like this like crazy extended cycle, I mean, we could see XRP starting to break out, you know, Bitcoin's at over $500,000 per coin. I mean, that doesn't mean that the market and altcoins are going to be performing just as well, because if that's the case, that means market dominance for Bitcoin's probably high as crap. It is super high. And so things are going to be bleeding into Bitcoin just like it was for the past 2 years. And so you can't guarantee yourself like a major altcoin season with things like XRP and other alts when even Ethereum is getting more dominance than the rest of the altcoin market. So then what would you rather hold? You might as well just hold Bitcoin and Ethereum. Right? So you got to keep it simple, because then at the end of the day, you're like, wait a second, I could have just held Bitcoin and Ethereum and I've been just gambling on this other stuff. You have to make that choice, and you have to know that that could be a possibility. You can't be naive and think that that is not the case. So you have to have a risk profile, risk strategy for going into the rest of this market and decide where you're going to put your liquidity, because you don't have unlimited liquidity. It's not like you don't have thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to be ponying up right now. Just let's be honest. You got about a few thousand, and you can only put it in certain spots before the next 3 months is over. So where are you going to put it? Because you got to kind of just put it and park it and stop moving around. Because at the end of the day, these 80 days that I've talked about is your like time to shine. This is your time to shine, to prove whatever your strategy is that it's working. And I'm sorry, but it's not going to work being in 7,000 different coins and being pulled all over the place. No, you got to focus and lock in and figure out what ecosystems you care about. For instance, John 3:16. He's like, I'm all Crow, baby. Let's go. I'm on that side too. I'm pretty bullish Crow. I've explained why I think the crypto.com app is really powerful. I think it's doing really well in terms of the things that it's launching and what it's getting into. And the Crow ecosystem, you know, it's got its own chain. There's the Crow chain. So there's a whole kind of separate DeFi ecosystem like that's with Crow. But then just the app alone, that's why I'm bullish on Crow. Like, I'm pretty simple. Like, I'm not even doing the DeFi on with Crow. I'm just staking Crow on crypto.com on just like on the app. And I did that. I staked it for full years just so I would just not touch it. So I would make myself like not touch it. So then I can see the potential of where it could go without me having the feeling that I want to move stuff around, because I've known I've done that in the past. It's never a good idea. And it always ends up biting me in the butt. Like, you know, over time when I start to look back and go, well, I'm like, no, too much moving around. All right. So I wanted to make a point. Of what is actually performing well right now while we're having this consolidation. Because right now you can see that Bitcoin is, you know, consolidated. We were pushing up to 119. We hit 120,000, I believe, and now we're back down to 118,000. ETH just touched 4K very briefly. I think it just got to 4K, so now we're back at 3,800. So we got a nice little consolidation down on ETH. And so what is up right now? So what is up on the retrace? We have some specific tokens. We have Tron. We have Super. which is the gaming token, the Elliott trades. We have Bonk. Bonk has actually been outperforming most of the launch pads, like anything that has to do with the Bonk ecosystem now. So now Bonk has its own ecosystem. This is actually doing better numbers and performance in terms of all the other launch pads. So the Bonk ecosystem, in terms of just the token itself, like I said, guys, we could be breaking this all-time high right here and just testing up. We're just kind of coughing here, and we're showing strength up while other things are down right now. And then look, the Radium, and that's another Solana token ecosystem liquidity provider, also has its own launch pad, up 4%. So, and then we have Optimism. So Optimism is one of those layer 2s for Ethereum, like Arbitrum, that is being used, I think, for different stacks, for development for other blockchains. So it's like Coinbase uses Optimism. I'm sure there's other ones that just off the top of my head I can't think that use Optimism for their stack of things. But I think the token's been down pretty, it's been in that range, this purple range. We want to look at these altcoins on the weekly, my friends, because on the weekly is where you can get the more zoomed out look. You can say, okay, on the weekly, are we getting above the EMA ribbon here? When we were above the EMA ribbon, what did we see, and how much movements did we see in strength, and where were we in the markets? We saw 200% right here in 2023 whenever we got above the EMA ribbon. And where was Solana? It was, it was up. It was getting up there, starting to gain more traction. And then we remember that during March, and between this time in August 2023 and then going into the next year of 2024 in March, we had this teaser altcoin season, and we had things like Radium get up and push up to, or like Optimism push up to $5. And if you look at this as like a trend here, like I can see some of these coins, I don't know, can you think that, Optimism could pull like a 600% move, 1,000% move to the upside, like to hit this trend line? I mean, I don't know, but I think in the short term here, when we start to see Ethereum continue to go, and we've seen that, okay, we're getting a little bit more strength. How did we look during these points? How did we look during the Trump pump? Not too bad, but we made a lower high compared to these. You compare this chart against like a SUI chart. The SUI chart is looking really strong. We've showed the SUI chart in this channel. If you look at SUI on the weekly, this is a very, very strong channel, because then it's done all. It did a, this was the ICO, and then we've just been doing a really nice channel. Now we went into Wyckoff, which it didn't go all the way up to test to a new high. It broke down, and then this is where we're going to be testing, I think, into the new all-time high. We've talked about this as the $12 SUI target, and it's based off of the Fibonacci extension in the weekly regression channel that's happening right here. Because you can look at this, and it basically is just, it is a regression channel, or you want to call it a fib channel, whatever you want to call it. It's basically just like looking really good. It's looking really good. That one's not, I don't know whether the regression on that one just did look like crap, but you get what I mean here. So yeah, look at the altcoins on the weekly and kind of see what's happening. Sol BTC is starting to, and yeah, SUI, honestly, like SUI just looks really good. We've seen this chart, and we've looked at the chart on SUI. It's a good chart. Honestly, it's a really good chart. Not a lot of altcoins that are high valued market cap like this and like involved with what SUI's doing look like this chart. Not very many look like this. It doesn't look like this. This is a good looking chart. How do let me see, hide all drawings. I mean, look at this. Look at this. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful chart. And I really think these Fibonacci extension levels are going to be respected And once we break through the 786, like it's basically game on. I mean, like we break through the 786, we're going to be pushing like an $8 SUI. We're at a $4 SUI right now. So that is right now, we're going to get some consolidation. We're back in that purple box. You see we're in that purple box. And I mean, just even pushing up to break that all-time high, we're going to go into price discovery, escape velocity for some of these things. And I think conservatively hitting the 1.618, 100% move to the upside. That's a pretty sick swing. That's a pretty sick swing trade. I want to mention about of course, mention the Solana ecosystem again and point out the fact, I was mentioning this to Headband, that a lot of these old legacy Solana DEX tokens like Orca, like Radium, maybe even some that we can go back down the rabbit hole and like see, okay, maybe some of these can come back up. We have to see what, but just Jupiter and things like that have just taken a lot of market share. And then you've seen how some of the meme coins, like now with their own ecosystems like Bonk, have taken market share. But I don't want you guys to forget about the OGs. This was my first experience into Solana on chain was Orca. Because I used Radium first, but then at the same time, I was like, well, what else is there? And I found Orca. And I actually found out about the Orcanauts. They have an NFT collection that was airdropped for people that used Orca. I think Orca also was airdrop token as well. And if you remember, Bonk was the original liquidity pool provider on Orca. So if you go to Solana and you go to Bonk and you look at Bonk or you type in Bonk and you look at Orca, Orca in terms of all the liquidity pools was 2 years, 7 months ago. 2 years, 7 months ago. So and what makes me like want to scream a little bit, but it's, I saw this on Orca 2 years ago, 2 years, 7 months ago. I saw this, and I could have bought like just a couple $100 of this thing, and I would have retired my bloodline, like fast tracked. I would have fast tracked retired my bloodline by. I know. It's because back then we still, in our greenhornness of just exploring these ecosystems and getting into the trenches and the memes, because you got to remember this was before Pepe, right? Because Pepe, the contract address was 2 years, 3 months ago. So I remember seeing it before the meme craze was even a thing. Oh my God. So yeah. It's crazy. But yeah, I don't want you guys to forget about Orca, because look, Orca could pull a 500% move to the upside on this massive like trend. We got this boom, and like I'm looking at this thing, eyeing $24. And Orca's been posting a lot on X recently. They're posting a lot on X. Let's see. I'll show you what they've been posting. Oh, they're hiring too. If you're a software engineer. Yeah, so not for scripts, not for snipers, not on terminals. Soon, coins with the strongest communities will be for humans only, and there will be only one place you can trade them. So I don't know, what was the last coin you truly cared about? And this is one of the I like these. I don't know. I think the one that I've built up the most, I guess, care for, where I just like, I just have fun holding it is the ticker, like the ticker Bitcoin, Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic 10 Inu, because we kind of missed our massive like wicked early buys with the original Bitcoin with BTC. And so the people's Bitcoin is here to save us all, give us a second chance. But that's just, I'm just, you can do what you will with it. But that's my funny coin. That's my favorite meme coin. What are your favorite meme coins? Because that's my favorite. My favorite meme coins, like I love Dogecoin. I love SHIB. I love Pepe. I like Wojak. I like ticker Bitcoin. Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic 10 Inu. I like Ponky. I've always I've Ponky's made me laugh. I like Ponky on Solana. And that Ponky's kind of like I attribute Ponky as kind of looking like a monkey Pepe. It's like the monkey Pepe on Solana. We'll have to see how that plays out over time. All right, I'm getting notes from the boss. Okay. Buy more ticker Bitcoin. I got a note from the boss. It says DCA ticker Bitcoin. Let's see. I cracked myself up. Cold coffee. Let's go. All right, my friends, we're having some fun today. I'm giving you guys some things that you can go down the rabbit hole with. You can go. This is the thing. Like, I am not selling anything. I'm not trying to get you to buy certain stuff. I just want you to figure out what makes you inspired and what is going to get you to lock in. And through me showing you how excited I am about talking about this stuff, that you find something that makes you just excited as I am to come here and yell in front of this computer screen. That's what I want. That is my mission. I don't care what you buy, as long as you feel good and locked in about it, and it's actually helping you to develop your strategy, whatever it may be, because there are so many opportunities out there. Like, you could be just so locked in and focused and be very knowledgeable about NFTs and be going and figuring out which collections are like underrated. You could be doing farming with your NFTs. Like, there could be something like, if you get this, then you can get that, and that could be your edge. And if that's all you want to focus on and you don't even buy Bitcoin, that's amazing. That means like you are figuring it out. That means it doesn't have to be what I'm doing or what Headband's doing or what whoever's doing. Like, it doesn't matter. But you can hopefully in this, you are figuring out what is working for you. Like, you're figuring out what is working for you. Like, that's what's so cool about crypto, is that it can kind of, you can find some, there's something for everyone. I really believe this. Like, I think like you can figure out what kind of resonates with you, and the things that I've found, I think have naturally just resonated with me because of the certain types of UI or UX, user interface, user experience, the memes, the funny stuff. Like, for instance, the ticker Bitcoin website, like it's just hilarious. It's funny. It's the best website in crypto. It is the funniest website.
Thank you very much.
It really is. And on it has the best merch. I mean, it really does have also the best merch. Like, let's go and look at the merch. We got to look at the merch. Where is the merch at? Pretty solid merch. Then there's a bootleg shop. The bootleg shop has the actual backpack, and some other things. I really like this one. I like the American one. There's a couple shirts that I'm gonna buy on this particular bootleg shop, but yeah, it's fun. It's just fun. It's just the perfect mashup of schizo stuff. That's why I like it, but you can have all your reasons to like whatever you are liking as well. And have a good explanation about it too, because everything that I've talked about, I give a pretty damn good explanation of why I like it and why I'm even bothering even talking about it at all. Is because I've been through enough. I've been through enough rug pulls and disappointments and extractions and false promises and things and just getting, chopped up, that now I can kind of narrow it down a little bit. And you literally have live streams and track record to prove it. You can go back 2.5 years or 3 years back and see where I've evolved and what conclusions I eventually have now come to. And it takes a cycle and a half or 2 cycles to come to some of these conclusions, which is you can have your own plan and strategy and still do just as well as the other person trying to convince you to do exactly what they're doing, because it's your edge. It's your edge. All right. We got 200 people watching on X now. Let's go. The X algorithm is pumping. And you know why? It's because these freaking Sprotos, man. These Sprotos are absolutely amazing. And more light, James, he's been like just a big mega soldier. He's been reposting and calling this the best stream. Which, if I don't know if he actually does, he really think that? I wonder if he might actually really think that. But if he does, that's amazing. I might have 200 viewers now on X because I decided to wear a tank top. Assemble the AI. I know what it's either AI accounts, bot accounts, who knows if they're all real, but we'll take it. I mean, if I can get close to the Cardano community having 2.4 thousand people watching, let's go. Julie Kennis, no, Julie, you have the best stream. No, I love your stream. You were putting Pump on blast. Your last stream that I tuned into, you were just like, you had the facts, you're like, I have the documents, Pump fun, devil worshippers. I think that's my favorite thing to say when I think about Alex Jones. We have the documents. But yeah, she was breaking down all of the the kind of the different law. There's like a lawsuit. Yeah, you're pulling out the court documents of the particular lawsuits and the subject matter that was in the particular lawsuit against Pump Fun, which had a lot to do with the streams, the particular coins, and different things that they were letting on the platform. Yeah, and some of that I did know about, and some of it I did not. And I was like, wow, that is like... Because obviously we know when there is a platform like this where it's kind of like it's kind of like open. It's open in a way. Not in a way. It was just fully open. I mean, it was just like anyone could make anything, and then at a point, where's the line? Where is it to where like actual people can be protected, and there's not a way for people to be exploited like this? It all comes down to ethics, like your morals, like how you're actually running your company, how you're generating money off of people, and it being through that type of modality, it is a little, it's not good. It's not a good look. It probably doesn't make, if you have any shred of, of like dignity or anything of being a human, you probably wouldn't want to actually support something like that. You probably wouldn't want to be a part of something where some of the stuff that I saw, I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to be a part of that. That's why I honestly never had a good feeling about Pump. I've tested it. I tried it. I did not really enjoy it. And when you start to go down the rabbit hole of like what majority of what you end up seeing, it's kind of like, I don't really like this. And I don't have to like it. For instance, like I said, I keep it simple. The thing is I do explore what's trending. For instance, like I've used pump.tires. There's some stupid, questionable stuff on pump.tires, but there's no live streams of people being locked in cages on Pump Fun for people just to sell a token, so there is a line. There is a line. Slimy Tromos. Hello, I'll love to join your Discord community. Thank you. As long as you're not a scammer and you're a real person, then yeah, you can join the Discord. I don't have the Discord link actually in the description. It's been a little the Discord's been a little quiet. It's been a little quiet. The Discord has been a little quiet. All right. We're gonna look at Bitcoin right now. Slimy Tromos, as long as you're not a slimy scammer, then we're good to go. Okay, Bitcoin. Let's pop it up on the 45-minute here. Let's pop it up on the 45-minute. Yeah, we were trying to push that 120 again. We did a nice little V-shaped recovery, like boop boop, and then hit some resistance. We could test and range. We could range now back to 116. That's a possibility. We could range back to 116, and we could actually start to push more dominance actually into Ethereum. If we went to 116 and money starts to flow and if Ethereum starts to go up while Bitcoin goes down, that would be insane. I mean, it's not uncommon, but we'd have to look at the dominance. We have to see what's happening with the dominance right now. What's happening with the dominance right now? Oh, give me just a minute, guys. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Whoa. See how quickly, when I got, like, these transition, by the way, and it's so bright out, so hot out, like they immediately transitioned. They almost went like full transition. It's wild. All right, so Perdita said the CME gap is almost closed. Yeah, so let's look at the dominance here. Let's look at the dominance. Bitcoin dominance was starting to kind of trend back up a little bit. Let's look at the ETH dominance. The ETH dominance is going up, though. We actually got back up to 12%, and we've mentioned before that dominance on ETH, if we want like the alts to do what they were doing before, where they were going kind of wild, we're gonna need ETH dominance doing something like this. We need it to go up, and we hit some resistance right here. Okay, we hit some resistance right here. We need to crush into the between 14 and 18% ETH dominance. When the market was in this ETH dominance, where were we? Where were we at? we had alts and things going wild. XRP dom. I mean, we could look at that. XRP. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, XRP dominance. We are at currently 4.8% market dominance for XRP. You can see from this point, this is where we had that major pump on XRP. But the dominance has hit a, looks like a double top here on dominance. We could get something, you know, we can get something like this where it kind of goes down just a little bit more. And if you're comparing it to how ETH dominance looks, ETH dominance looks a lot stronger in terms of where money is going to be flowing more so is. And you guys just got to remember, like, there's no XRP ETF yet. We haven't seen one actually come through the pipe yet. And look, institutions are like ponying up on ETH. I mean, if they were like going to be waiting and be like, "Oh, guys, we should wait. Like, let's not pony up too much on this Ethereum ETF because the XRP ETF is coming out pretty soon." You know? No, it's like, no, market dominance is signaling that like XRP had, like, if anything, institutions that were playing the risky game were holding some XRP, they probably cashed out already, to be quite honest. And now they're looking at Ethereum and they're looking to just get yield. I mean, because look, here's the deal. They're going to, instead of just buying, well, the institutions are buying the ETH. They're buying ETH, like straight ETH. BlackRock, Fidelity, Bitwise, they're all buying the ETH because they need it for their bank, for their ETH bank to service ETHA, FETH, ETHW, all these tickers for the different ETFs. The institutions are buying this because guess what? This is going to generate yield sooner than what them buying XRP to then hopefully maybe get a percentage gain up to whatever the new all-time high would be. They're better off, and you got to think these institutions that with this big amount of capital, they want stability, and that might actually be getting more stability with Ethereum. And it's funny because we got fudded out of ETH. We got fudded out of ETH, but then you look at the market dominance of how it reacts when ETH starts to take over, and it's starting to signal that Bitcoin dominance, even though it's getting up a little bit, it's probably still going to go down to 57%. And then ETH dominance is going to be trending up at the same time, signaling for us to be in a altcoin season. Oh my God, I said it, guys. Oh my God, I said it. I said altcoin season. You better run. I said altcoin season. You better watch out. Run for the hills if anyone says altcoin season. All right, guys, if you're not following me at Dano Crypto 904 on TikTok yet, please help me get to 100 followers or something like that. Help me go viral, Morad style on TikTok. Okay, yeah. Checking Zero Hedge front page articles. Yeah, I keep forgetting about Zero Hedge. Let's actually pull up Zero Hedge. Let's see what they got going. Let's look at what they're saying about crypto right here. All right, Ether ETF inflows outpaced Bitcoin for 6 straight days as global liquidity soars. Will the stablecoin revolution make inflation high again? Why Bitcoiners will benefit from stablecoin legislation. So yeah, the stablecoin stuff, let's talk about that just for a little bit. Like, these are kind of the top news stories. Genius Act sparks a $4 trillion crypto market. The U.S. Genius Act grants regulatory clarity for stablecoins, igniting a major altcoin rally. Market cap briefly crossed $4 trillion as ETH, Uni, and Sol surged. Deutsche Bank signals crypto's move into financial mainstream. Let's see. Global stablecoin use. For instance, in Russia, linked stablecoin surpassed 40 billion in volume in just 2 weeks, highlighting blockchain's role in sanctions evasion and cross-border trade with China. So you got to think, it's not just like what's happening in the United States too. It's like, what is going to be where like a lot of this world, like, liquidity is going to be flowing into, and how it's going to have the overall cryptocurrency markets react in terms of just like the liquidity. Let's see. What else do we want to see? Crypto exposed stock. Oh yeah, crypto. We wanted to mention about the crypto exposed stocks. So Coinbase, obviously Coinbase Coin. We got Block Inc., Square, Jack Dorsey's company, Bitcoin hardware wallet, BitKey, and BTC miner chip, proto developer, crypto infrastructure play. Then we have CME Group, trade infrastructure for BTC and ETH, providing the CME futures for also Solana as well. And then we have Visa. There's also expanding into the stablecoin settlements with Solana-based classic financial bridge to crypto. Then now recently, PayPal just enabled retail crypto payments and holds crypto on the balance sheet. And now you can, what was it? It was PayPal that they added Bitcoin custodian connectivity with through PayPal. Interactive brokers. This is IBKR exploring stablecoin launch for brokerage clients to access crypto rails for transfers and funding. So let's just look at this stock, like IBKR, because like Interactive Brokers, I'm not too familiar with them, but IBKR. So let's look at IBKR and kind of see how IBKR, and we'll look at stocks, IBKR, Interactive Brokers Group on the NASDAQ. And I mean, look at this thing. Thing is just, whoa. What's going on here? What is this? What is this trend? Holy moly. Probably have to like do something like that. More so like that, maybe. I don't know. Does that look like that could be some kind of a trend here? Because it looks like from that peak, hit there, boonk, and it's looking like it wants to. On the weekly, this actually looks pretty decent. And see, we can start to look at things like this, of like, where can we get exposure still with crypto, but in the stock market? All these different companies that are going to be involved with stablecoins, being brokers. Maybe we've seen some of these stocks go up like meme coins almost. I mean, like look at what happened with Circle. We look at what happened with Circle. Circle IPO'd at like $65. It IPO'd at $65 and it went up 400%. Crazy. It was like a meme coin launch. It was almost like a meme coin launch. All right, but let's actually see what's down the most is actually Ticker Bitcoin. Ticker Bitcoin is in terms of my list is down the most, But there is reasons for it because we were just crushing up on the weekly 1, 2, 3 weeks in a row. We had 3 massive green weeks where we hit the lows on this Wyckoff accumulation that's happening on ticker Bitcoin, and we had gone up about 134% since then. So if you had been DCAing into the ticker under 6 cents or around 6 cents, that was the mega buy zone, was in around this line, was this through line of support. And so we've pumped a lot, so it's normal to take a 10%, cool down. Same with a lot of these other tokens too. Like, Sui was pumping recently really, really nice. I know the Me token was on a tear, and so that's, taking a little bit of a cool off. A lot of the altcoins taking a little bit of a breather, but I would say nothing to worry about, and still honestly great accumulation zones for still some of these coins to be breaking into new all-time highs. And so it's just kind of a buy, hold, and wait, and just see how the overall markets are going to play out for the next couple of months, and also how the Fed is going to be deciding, what the rates are going to be. This is what we're watching. We got 2 days until this meeting, and it's looking like they're still just going to keep the rates the same, but they might signal that they're going to cut rates the next meeting. But we only have, after this meeting, 3 meetings for the rest of the year. We got one in September, October, December, and who knows if the Fed has been pressured enough to pump or to cut the rates. So we'll just have to see. But all right, my friends, I think, I don't know, is there anything else that we should cover? I don't know if I showed you my trades, but we still have these trades open. We have the Bitcoin trade open and the Ethereum trade open. We've realized $427 in profit on the ETH trade and $156 in the Bitcoin trade, and we still are in some profits, but we also are going to be scaling into these trades consistently over time to take advantage of these runs. And also, because now that we're getting the market cool off a little bit, we're going to see these altcoins dip, and we're seeing them dip right now. There could be some really good opportunities to get into, for instance, like, Solana back now down under 200, sitting at 187. We've seen how Solana has been picking up that steam, picking up the strength, and we've charted Solana, that it's got a really good chance to be breaking back up to all-time highs, with the sentiment around Solana and the ecosystem. So still pretty bullish Solana, but also still mega bullish ETH, and think that there could be some interesting things happening with the inflows of the ETF still going strong, and I think it's looking pretty good. So overall, I think that's it with the markets. Nothing too crazy. And just to show you some kind of Bitcoin monthly returns that's happening right now, in quarter 3 right now, we're up 10%. Quarter 2, we were 29%, and quarter 1, we were getting hit. We got hit. Altcoins were down 90%, 100%. Bitcoin went down, 50 something percent. Ethereum went down 63%. So it was kind of nasty. So those were the times to really buckle down and kind of have conviction, because then you can see that we did recover. We didn't go into the full ground, and it could be that we get a similar 2017 look in quarter 4. That's what I'm hoping for, because look at what happened in 2017 with the momentum. And we've been comparing this cycle, and a lot of other TA people have been comparing this particular crypto cycle with 2017, how the market's been reacting, and in terms of the Bitcoin monthly returns. As you can see here, all that green right there, and then you can see similar, very much in the green, but not even close to what the going in August, 65%. I think August and September and October, it's just going to be it's going to be crazy. I mean, who knows how it's going to shake out, but I have my price target for October, and which is basically that's the 80-day mark of where we're going to potentially hit a supply shock. I think there's a good chance that we could hit a supply shock with Ethereum and Bitcoin going into this month. I mean, it lines up with the TA, but it could be off. Could the price target, whatever it may be. But I really do think that the end of this year is gonna be very interesting, and I'm very excited to see where it could go and potentially where our bags can be and where our gains are and how we can go into next year, because the game's not over, guys. You think like, oh, after this pump and whatever we have, like it's like you're gonna exit crypto. You're sadly mistaken. You're in the right place at the right time, and you need to continue to learn, because this isn't going anywhere. By the way, everything's coming on chain. Everything is signaling that the TradFi institutions are going DeFi on chain, and things are going to be moving in this direction at a faster and faster pace. And so we need to be able to know how to navigate these ecosystems. This is why we have this channel. This is why we are in the mode of education and trying to help you guys. So I hope I've helped and have piqued your interest in just going down the rabbit hole. Yeah. And we really appreciate your time, your eyes, your ears, and your attention. It really means a lot. Real quick, not me, not you, but who says question? Dano, asteroid good tech, asteroid good tech. Are you saying that when the asteroid hits, we're going to be using bottle caps? Is that what you're saying? I know what you mean. You know, we've had many close calls of asteroids and massive disasters, and I bet we've probably already morphed into a different dimension where we like missed it by like a hair. But you know, powers that be, energy, God, you know, the grid master, the ascended masters, the brotherhood, whatever you want to call them. I think they probably stopped a few of those asteroids from smashing right into the planet. But you're probably honestly talking about a freaking token. But I took it to a whole nother level. I don't know. We'll look at whatever this token is, just for fun. I doubt it's good tech. No. Oh my Lord. Yeah, it was like flatlined, and then it had like a mega pump up to 2 million, and now it's back down to 698. I mean, who knows? Oh, it was a community takeover. Community claimed ownership. I keep it simple, guys. I mean, I don't even like, I see stuff all the time, and I'm like, oh, should I buy it? It's like, oh, should I try and get some Vine coin? Oh, should I try and get some, useless. Should I try and get some Uranus coin? Should I try? Nope, I'm not. I'm going to go into Pulse Chain and probably get some PulseX, Pulse Chain, Hex and incentive token, and then I'm gonna go and freaking buy Wojak and Pepe and Ticker Bitcoin, and that's what I'm gonna buy. I'm probably gonna go and buy some Ponky too. I'll probably go buy some Ponky. I'm not gonna buy Dog with Hat. I'm not gonna buy useless coin. I'm not gonna buy all these coins that ran up way too fast and ran up to 500 million in like 2 days. Guess what? If it ain't, look, Morad said it. If it's not a slow cook, it's a scam. That's what Morad said, and I believe it. It's 100% true. If it's not a slow cook, it's a scam. Here's the video.
Most people don't.
Where is it?
Here is crypto. This cycle will be
Where is it? I love it. If it's not a slow cook, it's a scam. I love it because it's so true, because it's just, when you look at these coins, some of these coins that basically ran up to the value of what Ticker Bitcoin was at its like peak, in 2 days with zero lore narrative or anything like this, just basically a flash in the pan meme, bundled up and gets pumped up to 500 million, and you're telling me that's worth holding multi-cycle and worth risk? Yes, you could potentially make your gains and then you get out, but it's just for people to actually have a chance. It's got to be something better than that. It's because that is going to just go to zero. Like, it's not going to continue. And the ones that do, they're massively controlled. It's things like Fartcoin. It's things like that. And remember, these are the ones that are shilled by the big accounts, like Useless or Uranus, and you got Razmir, making videos on Fartcoin. But then you got then you got the real schizos, then you got the real holders, the real people that have mental illness, and we just talk about the ticker. But it is what it is. You choose your communities wisely, I guess. But all right, my friends, thanks for supporting. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for the super chats. You can always send super chats. That is a function. You can also become a member of the channel if you want to become a member of the channel as well. Yeah, Obama's probably going to go to jail, and it'll send this coin to like $50 or something like that. Yeah. Well, what they do is they let the body doubles, like for instance, Hillary, Biden, all the people that they probably already canned and they already have them locked up. There's actually this theory. I don't know if you know about this theory going around. It's pretty cool. It's fun to think about this because body doubles are real. Like don't play with me and don't act like you don't think that CIA body doubles are real with the face masks and the whole like makeup Hollywood style. Like they can make anyone look like anyone. Stop it. Don't act like you are telling me you don't think that's true, because it is. So, for instance, these politicians and these people, most of them are probably not real. It's probably not the real actual person. It's a body double. And the real person is off somewhere messing around, effing off and whatever, or they are in jail. They're in a basement somewhere. They're in like Guantanamo underground type situation, or they completely got eradicated from the face of the earth. So might be the case with Obama and with a lot of these politicians. One of them, the two most controversial ones three, is Obama, Hillary, and Biden. That's not actually them, and they've already been taken out. And what you're seeing is just a show. It's just a play. It's just the world as a stage. YouTube, please don't ban my channel for me talking about this, but it's a reality that could actually be happening right now. It's really strange. And Sucky is saying there's been some weird signs showing exactly that too. Yeah, it's really strange. Like if there's a video that was circling around that Hillary actually was cuffed in 2016 and put in a black van, and the Hillary that we see now is not the Hillary. It's not the real Hillary. But Trump, even on Truth Social, made a post all about how Biden is not the real Biden. He was like, who's this guy? And if you look at videos and pictures of Biden when he was vice president with Obama, he looks completely different. Either the adrenochrome wore off massively to where it just changed the whole appearance, or it's not the same freaking dude. It's just like how all those celebrities that like for all of a sudden like in 6 months they look like they got dipped in acid. Like what happened to them? Sorry, did you get your dose? Your dose wore out. One of the big ones being Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen DeGeneres like literally turned into, she already was kind of trolly, but then she literally turned into a seething troll. That's what she looks like. Let's go. Sucky said, just randomly found your channel today. Love it. I will be back for sure. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. This is why I tell my wife, you just stream. You show up every day and you catch people with a net. You catch people with a net. But honestly, I think people like this the most when we start ranting about your crazy conspiracy theories. But when you start to look at how the media just has gaslit everyone and psyoped everyone, and one of the biggest ones being COVID. If anything, guys, we should have learned our lesson was from coming out of COVID. Because we were led to believe all of this stuff, and most of it was not true. To the point where they made you feel like if you sneezed, you were going to kill grandma. And then took it to the even next level. Like, and kept anteing up the deception and trying to manipulate us to the fullest extent. And you don't think they're playing some type of stage game with these politicians, these talking heads. They print the money out of thin air, my friends. They print the money out of thin air. They put Jerome Powell up there. They put all these people up there and shuffle the papers. They shuffle the papers. And they go, well, the CPI, PPI, DD, Dick I is 0.2% and 5. Just be in crypto. Invest. Who cares at this point when they print the freaking money? The CPI and the consumer price index is 0.05. No one cares. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit to make you not invest, which is what they are doing with their printed fiat money and able to borrow it at zero interest and against their fucking company stock, while we're over here talking about the CPI. Get the no. That is so. What are we talking about? At the end of the day, there is no chart. I love you. It's all bull crap, guys. It's all crap. The name of the game, less expenses, no debt. Stop getting yourself stuck in everything. Stop making the system convince you that you need them. They need you. My daughter is 6 years old, and even at her age, I explained to her something as simple as getting a mortgage and what the difference between a mortgage is and rent. And I broke it down pretty simple. I said, baby girl, there's a house for sale that we just passed. You don't want to know? You want to try and guess how much it is? And we tried to guess. We did some guessing numbers, and I said, it's in the hundreds. She was like, is it 7,000? I said, no, it's in the hundreds of thousands. So I said, okay, we're gonna see who's closer. I said, do you think it's 400,000 or 500,000? She was like, 500,000, and I said, okay, let's check it. Went on Zillow, checked it, close to almost $500,000 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom house in a neighborhood, blah blah blah, community HOA with a pool. The house didn't have a pool, but there's a community pool. Mortgage on that, if you're pre-qualified, is $3,100. But guess how much you have to put down on that mortgage? You have to put down 10%. It's almost $100,000 that you would have to put down on this house to get a mortgage. Now, you run those numbers across how much you're going to then spend over the next 4 years on possible maintenance. Not possible maintenance, 100 guaranteed maintenance if you buy a house. It is like in the universal law, it doesn't matter if you bought a brand new house. Some shit's going to break that costs $5,000. It's always $5,000. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. No one tells you this because they don't care about you enough. I care about you enough. You buy a house, just have $20,000 extra just to be ready to burn it on repairs and some stupid roof leak, pipe leak, the freaking water, whatever, something stupid. It doesn't matter how new or whatever your house is. It just happens every time. It happens every freaking time. And no one tells you. They go, buy a house. It's the American dream. If you rent, guess what? The person who owns the property has to fix it. The only thing you have to worry about with renting, yes, there's things and setbacks with renting, but there's a big difference of the amount of money that you end up spending over the next year, however many years you're going to rent, and then go into a mortgage and buy this house. You could have taken that $100,000 and invested it into the market into very low risk stuff, dividend yielding things, passive income. Passive income. This needs to be taught to every young person that is thinking about what they need to do to get ahead. Then, when they have spent 5-10 years building up an investment portfolio, that house that's $300,000, guess what? They probably can have enough money to buy that damn thing out cash and tell the bank to go take a freaking hike. Because if you ran the numbers for how much it actually really costs you to be in a mortgage and to be in a house and be a homeowner, you would puke. You would puke and be like, what am I thinking? Because if you did the spread and just invested however much money you would spend on it, property taxes and insurance and home repairs over the next 5 years and 10 years, and just did that amount in investing, you could retire early. You're not going to end up in the damn bagging groceries as a 65-year-old because you're not getting enough Social Security. So, this is what the system, they don't want you to learn about this stuff. They don't want you to become free like this. They rely on you paying the interest and being the sucker. When I mean they, it's just the extractors. I'll just call them that. The extractors, whether it's in freaking crypto or the banks or the Fed or whatever it is. They're all trying to extract from you until you wake up and wake your ass up and start taking your money seriously and your sovereignty seriously and realize that all you are wanting is freedom and time. And how do you do it? You have your money work for you and you figure out how to work smarter, not harder. And that is the difference. That's the freaking difference. We're on one. We're on one right now. We're for sure on one. I couldn't help it when I start talking, because I have directly experienced this, and it frustrates me that this is not what they don't teach you. This you have to be taught by someone who's financially literate and who has experience. You have to be taught this. This is what the disconnect between the massively rich and the poor and the people that are. It's just a level of knowledge. It's not their fault. It's not their fault. It's just they lack they don't lack the access to knowledge, because nowadays the access to knowledge is everywhere, but you have to be willing to see it. The perception. That's what the difference is, the perception to be able to see this and to learn and to know, okay, maybe I wasn't raised in a family that was financially literate, and I have to find my way out because they weren't taught. My parents were taught to do this, or so they did all this. So you end up kind of doing the same thing and getting in the same traps. You have to unprogram and relearn and go, like, this is why the rich stay rich, because they're taught, and there's knit groups this model. And what are they taught pretty early on? Invest. That's one of the top things that they're taught. Invest. My father invested in and it's just like these things that can be taught over time, like through the generations. That's why some of these families have stayed so rich. You got to be the one to break the cycle if you've been in that particular family structure or DNA. It's in your freaking DNA. It's in your DNA from your ancestors, this shit. This is how deep this goes, guys. You think it's just like, well, what do you think this is? You are battling programming that is in your freaking, your DNA, your helix. You got stuff that is imprinted and implanted from eons. So you better start paying attention, because if you don't, you even have to can't even begin to understand what you have to reprogram inside of yourself. I know this to be it's so true and so important that I don't think there's anything else as important as that to figure this out for yourself, because once you do, everything will change. And I'm starting to feel it, and I have felt it for a long time, since my head has been freaking cracked open. I can't go back. There's no going back. There's no accepting this and what this system is trying to get me to accept. I'm not going to accept it, and I don't want you to accept it either. We're done. It's time to wake up, my friends. It's time to wake up. Welcome to the real world. I'll see you guys on the next live stream.